All right, this is Coach.
I'm the kid, and today Coach and I are going to be talking about the Lakers and their chances to win another championship in the stacked Western Conference as currently constructed. But before we do that, Coach and I are going to play you some clips of the media really going in on the Lakers.
Minutes next season with the Lakers. I wouldn't even expect to see him probably see significant minutes year two. He'll be on the floor, certainly with their he should be on the floor with their South Bay Lakers team. And from there, his niche is going to be the ability to defend. How he makes it in this league is to be an elite level defender right now.
Alan, you were watching this and thinking.
Trade deadline, perhaps you can do something.
But the thing is, to Bobby's point, just really quick.
Yeah.
They can't do much at the
They
trade
can't do
deadline
much,
now.
right.
They're very limited by him signing this max deal. This puts them in a position where they can't add much to this team, and this team isn't good enough to get where they expect to go.
I guess to Alan's point, it also means that they do have LeBron James.
Yeah, you still have LeBron James,
right.
though.
So, hey, we're going to spin it to some other teams now. We're going to play
In Las Vegas here, but Bronny James is a developmental project. Right now, I would not expect him to see significant minutes next season with the Lakers. I wouldn't even expect to see him probably see significant minutes year two. He'll be on the floor, certainly with their he should be on the floor with their South Bay Lakers team. And from there, his niche is going to be the ability to defend. How he makes it in this league is to be an elite level defender right now.
Alan, you were watching this and thinking about the idea. I mean, obviously, he's the 55th pick in the draft and receiving an amount of attention that pick doesn't usually get for reasons that have a lot to do with whose son he is. But you were looking at it through the lens of a father.
Yeah. I just, for a minute, when you listen to the young man speak, listen to what he's saying, that he has already been living this, that he does see what you're seeing out there. He sees it. And that's kind of tough. And for him to already be talking about it, know what he's getting himself into, how do you not sit back? Again, as a dad, looking at it and saying to yourself, that's pretty mature for a young man to be stepping into a situation where he knows there's a lot of people, sadly, rooting against him. But for all you out there that are in the comments section, because he sees you, we all see you, and everybody in our business as well, you're all hypocrites. Because you do the same thing for your son or your daughter in this situation. And in fact, in many businesses, it does happen. So let's just put all that stuff aside, the idea of nepotism and everything else. The other part of it is pick 55 through 60. You're talking about the rarity of a player becoming something. Isaiah Thomas, the second Isaiah Thomas, was the 60th pick. You see picks at 55, 56, Manu Ginobili, like some names like that come up. Those are the rare ones. Aside from that, it's usually a name you can't pronounce and somebody that stays over in Europe and never gets here. So they're taking a player who they know has a great pedigree. Let's all agree. He comes from good stock, does he not, right?
Yeah.
They say that a lot of times about athletes. Like they always talk about the athletes. Look at the parents. How are the parents, right?
Yeah.
His parents are pretty good, wouldn't you say? Especially dad. And so you know he's going to work. You know he's going to do whatever it takes. If they can turn him into something great. If he doesn't, it's the 55th pick. Who cares? It's amazing that Dalton Connect is their first-round pick, and he was an afterthought in this press conference.
He was there as well.
He was there. I mean, and look, I think, Bronny James, like Bobby said, he should just spend all next year in the G League. I know we're going to pay a lot of attention to G League games now because that's what we're going to do here, but Jordan Walsh was the 38th pick in the draft last year by the Celtics, an early second-round pick, 19-year-old kid. He played 45 minutes over the first 80 games of the season, right? He spent all year in the G League. Obviously, the Celtics are a deeper team, but this is what happens when you're picked in the second round. You spend the year in the G League. That's where Bronny James is going to be, and we'll see over time if he can become an Aaron Holiday-type player. Like, that's what his path is.
You got to let him ride the buses. You got to let him play in the G League. You got to let him show some humility and be at the level of the guys he's at right now and not carry himself above all that. He has got to be a grinder and earn that respect his way. You got to let him do it.
Lakers miss out on Clay.
I mean, they missed out on Clay because they haven't been very good for a while, right? The Dallas Mavericks just were in the NBA Finals. The Lakers lost in 5 games in the first round. Like, that's really the difference here. Klay Thompson picked a chance to go play on a team where he's got a chance to win a title or at least be in the NBA Finals, as opposed to going home to play for the Lakers, to play for the team his dad used to play for, is now the color commentator on the radio for, and he'd have a chance to maybe make the playoffs. Like, that's really what we're talking about here. And this goes all the way back to the Russell Westbrook trade and all the disastrous ramifications that have come from that, to where the Lakers just aren't good enough to really be a championship caliber team, and they don't really have a path to getting there. Even if they use their first round picks and go make a move, they can't really get anywhere close to Oklahoma City, Dallas, Denver, Minnesota.
Okay, so there you have it. It's the first time really us, maybe second time doing a video like this, where we show, stuff ahead of time. You guys let us know if you like that, or, you just want us to get right into it. But I always think it's important for you talk about stuff to show it. And so everybody is on the same page, and, we're not making nothing up. I should be surprised. I guess I am a bit surprised, but then again, when I think about it, I'm not surprised. I just don't know when it is ever gonna let up. LeBron James is the most scrutinized athlete in the history of sports, and all he's done is surpass every expectation that was set on him. The team that drafted him, the players that he was coming to, the bums that they were. Carlos Boozer and others. What was my name? Miles something. Darius Miles or something like that. I forget the name. Bums. I hope they're listening. They didn't even want to play with the guy. And so just imagine an 18-year-old kid. You have all this media attention on you. Everybody's wanting you to fail, and you weren't alive, I don't think. And so and even if you was, you wouldn't know what was going on. But the big deal, man, before he was drafted is LeBron had to escalate.
As in the car?
Yeah, the car. He had to escalate. That was front page news.
What?
Because at that time, college players, which he wasn't supposed to have any type of money. Even though they was about to get millions of dollars from the NBA and sign all kind of deals. I don't know when LeBron's Nike deal happened, if that's before he played his first game or after. That was the big stink. Well, how did he get this Escalade? Where did he get the money from? And it was going in on his mom, scrutinizing his mom.
What, they thought he was doing some shady stuff?
That you wasn't supposed to touch no money with. Of course, it's different now.
Well, he's not an NCAA athlete.
Exactly.
If he got a shoe deal, what you think an 18-year-old with millions of dollars is going to do with that money?
Like I said, dude, I'm telling you. So he came in on that. And he came in with the Cleveland Cavaliers bums that they had hating on him, right? And all he did was come in and take a bad team. I don't remember what their record was before he got there. Remember, you want to look it up real quick. The 2002 Cavaliers or 2002, 2003 Cavaliers, what was their record? All he did was come in, and the first year, they almost made the playoffs because of LeBron, right? For those of you who hate on us for, our takes on Cade.
17-65.
Okay, which was the same record we had the year before last, right? So when you're a great player, you come in and change your team. If you are a true number one pick, right? Or even a number two pick, or it doesn't matter where you pick. When you're a great player, you affect the team, right? When Hakeem Olajuwon got to the Rockets, he affected the team. When Magic Johnson got there, he affected the team. When Larry Bird got there, he affected immediately. That's what the number one, the top two, whatever pick is reserved for. And, the Pistons just haven't had a guy to do that in a long time. Even Wembanyama, has he affected the team? Do you think?
He's affected their sales. When they played the top teams, it was entertaining.
Yes. And when they played us, they beat our butts. They called that the toilet bowl, and they like that really separated us, I think. But anyway, LeBron, under all that scrutiny, came in and almost got the Cavaliers to the playoffs. And then every year after that, they went to the playoffs, every year. And then the team that he took to the finals, everybody knows, was the worst finals team ever assembled in life. If you take LeBron off that team, they would have been 17-65 or maybe 15-67 without him, right? So the man has just, sweated greatness his whole career. He hasn't really been hurt until recently, which happens to everybody. He's played almost every game. He's a competitor. He don't take nights off. Done everything right. He's a great dad. I have never heard LeBron's name mentioned in any mess, right? I mean, I don't have my ear to the ground when it comes to NBA mess, but, everybody knows if there was some infidelity or something like that, right, it would be front page news, man. And, I mean, it would really be front page news. And you would have a whole lot of people coming after him. If it's happened, they kept it real quiet. I don't, you know what I'm saying? He's been a model citizen, and he's a model father, and you have a lot of people that watch the NBA games, especially black men. A lot of us didn't have fathers, right? And so we don't even know what it is to be in a fatherly environment. A lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of, you know what I'm saying? If you were a kid growing up in the 70s and the 80s, as I was, the things that were done to the inner cities with white flight, with removing the jobs, with incentivizing our mothers to live without our fathers. They were actually paid to live without them. So I'm getting off on a tangent, but I'm just saying, now to see a guy that, first of all, that's the reason why my generation, why we care so much about parenting right now, right? I don't know a bad dad right now. I think that's a crazy stat. Every person that I know, every dude that I know is a good father. Even if they not with their baby mama no more, they divorced, they are still in their kids' lives. So that was something that was important to our generation. And, LeBron is part of that generation. So he's been a great dad. You cannot say the same about every NBA, player. I'm not going to put names out there. Y'all know the names. You can't say that. So I'm saying all that to say he doesn't warrant the hate. He's won championships. He's hit every shot imaginable. Most game-winning shots in history. More than Kobe and MJ combined. Just say that 3 times. More game-winning shots than Kobe and MJ combined. And what did LeBron receive for that? He received from the haters wishes that his son would die. I remember very distinctly, there was a game, remember? There was a game where a woman was escorted out. And the reason she was escorted out, nobody knew at the time.
What year was this?
This was like last year or like 2 years ago. Yeah.
Because
not even 2 years ago.
Was this when he was going?
No, this was before this, and this is why, dude, I almost cried when I heard that, he had cardiac arrest. My first thought was, man, I hope that chick is not going to be right. She's not going to make a prediction, because everybody was on LeBron. Why he get this fan escorted out? Then they found out what she said. And she said, I hope your son dies in a car accident. She said that during the game.
Verbally or with a sign or something?
First she said it
So
To
she was
LeBron.
on. So she got the expensive courtside seats.
She wasn't courtside, but she might have been 4 or 5 rows or 10 rows. I don't know. It was enough where LeBron was like, yo, she got to go. Right? This is the kind of stuff that these guys did, but specifically him. Right? So now here's Bronny, who's obviously, the stuff that I deal with on a regular basis because you're my son. I'm sure they shared stuff, just like I share stuff with you. Right? So now here's Bronny coming into his own, you know what I'm saying? And then he has his incident, almost loses his life, works hard to get back, which is remarkable. Just to be, I thought his career was done. Didn't you think he was done?
Because I didn't really know the extent of
Cardiac
what happened.
arrest, bruh. You know what cardiac arrest is?
Your heart stops.
You're okay. So how serious is that?
Very.
Okay. Right? So you thought he was coming back?
I thought LeBron would do everything in his power to try and get him there, and maybe he would at most be like a G League player that wouldn't return to his most athletic self because of his condition, not because he couldn't play.
Well, that's what people think now. And that's what we're talking about. But the bottom line is he worked his way back. The fact that he played in college was great. It wasn't a great system. I'm not blaming the system. I'm sure he was not himself initially. I'm sure there was some fear, right? And there's a big jump between high school and college. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't, a great system at USC. You know what I'm saying? But he made the decision to come out. And rather than having, taking the approach of, all right, we don't know what he's going to do. You know what I'm saying? Let's give him a chance. We don't know. The man just recovered from cardiac arrest. I'm not making any, but let's see what happened, right? Why not take that approach? No, you have, and I'm going to tell you what this is about, all right? This is going to be a hot one, y'all. Y'all think I've done hot stuff before. No. This is the things that I've told you guys before have all just been truths, right? And this is why I rely on stats. I don't just sit up here and run my mouth. Right? It's always stat-based. Now, some of these things I'm getting ready to say are also based in truth. They're a little bit, more of my opinion, but they're things that I pretty much know, and I know where this is coming from. All right. This hate is coming from 3 directions. Okay? The first direction, which is really shameful, is NBA players that LeBron beat when they play and they still can't get over it. Dudes like Kendrick Perkins and others who LeBron, might have cost them a championship or two, right? And they're hating on them and they're extending the hate to, his son. And there's a lot of those dudes like that and coaches, right? The second group is MJ lovers like Stephen A. Smith, that it doesn't matter what LeBron does, they're going to hate on him, right? So Stephen A. Smith saying he shouldn't be in the league and this and that, he doesn't deserve. We're going to get into all of that. He's leading the chart, yes.
I thought he was saying hold back on the nepotism. I thought he was Team Bronny.
Yeah, he talked about the nepotism eventually, yes. But he still don't think Bronny can play basketball. And he's one of the guys that's leading the charge about, he's only here because of his dad and so on and so forth, just like Perk, just like others. But really this third group, and this is really, really petty. This third group is Trump supporters, bunch of white guys that didn't like the politics that LeBron talked about when he was in Cleveland. When LeBron said, hey, you guys made a mistake voting for Trump, in which he was damn right. Right? It's not a political show. We're not gonna get into that, but the dude was not a good president. just on the moral level, just on the, be a good guy, be a stand-up citizen, whatever, right? He wasn't. So LeBron said what he said, and there are a bunch of guys who disagree with that, including one of the writers that, particular event. He was like, how can you say we made a mistake? This was before a lot of stuff came out. So because of that, let me tell you, they have withheld MVP votes, all-star votes, all kind of votes because they hate his guts. They hated on his school. They hate on everything he do because of politics. And politics is really just a terrible place for anybody to be in. Nothing is ever black and white. It's always a gray area, but that's America. Okay, I'm so glad we're not dealing with that. But that's where the hate is coming from. So it doesn't matter if it's LeBron's son, daughter, wife, his business, his school. It doesn't matter. When he said what he said, which was an absolute true statement, right? People have been hating on him because of that, and that extends to Bronny. That is the truth. And unfortunately, you got, so you got all these camps, MJ lovers, right? Former players that LeBron beat, and dudes that don't like his politics. And they all get together. There are channels. I don't know if you've seen them. There are channels dedicated to LeBron hate. There are channels dedicated to LeBron traveling. There are literal YouTube channels that get views.
No, I've heard you talk about it, but I haven't looked it up. I don't look up.
Well, I don't watch
anybody's
stuff.
hate channels for nothing. So
yeah, so that's where all this is coming from. So now, all that aside, let's get to the question at hand, and that is the Los Angeles Lakers roster. Can they compete for a championship? And so here's what I'm going to do. First of all, let's address one of the things he said. Oh, man, it doesn't matter what the Lakers do. They so far away. They so far away from winning the championship that it don't matter who they bring in. Obviously, that dude was salty. He's probably camp number 3. I'm talking about the dude to the left. First of all, I don't know who that other analyst was. He's my new favorite analyst because he told the truth. I don't want to hear about the nepotism. I don't want to hear about this stuff. LeBron is still, one of the greatest players still in the game right now. I still think he's the best player in the league right now, honestly, and the most consistent. But let's talk about the Lakers being so far away. So the headline is going to say, oh, the Nuggets beat the Lakers. Oh, man, they wasn't even competitive. What is the reality, all right? So game 1, what did the Lakers lose by? And if the Lakers were up, how much were they up in game 1?
they lost by 11 in game 1, and based on the play-by-play that I'm looking at, they really weren't up by much, maybe a few points or so in that game.
In game 1. All right. So game 1 they lost. They lost by 11. All right. This was in Denver or this was in LA?
This was in Denver.
This is in Denver, right, because Denver had the better record. All right. They lost the first game. All right. Game number 2.
Game 2, the Nuggets were up by as much as 20.
You mean the Lakers?
Yeah, the Lakers were up by as much as 20 at one point before the Nuggets made a comeback and Jamal Murray hit a game winner, buzzer beater at the end of the game.
All right, so they were up by 20, right, which is a theme that the Lakers had all last year, but they were up by 20. Up by 20, does that sound like you're competing?
That sounds like you're beating the team.
Okay, up by 20, and it took a game-winning shot to beat them. If Jamal Murray misses that shot, it goes to overtime. We don't know what can happen. But, that could have changed the series. All right, game 3.
Game 3, the Lakers were also up by double digits by the second quarter,
What's double digits?
like 12 or something
Okay,
like that.
and then what happened?
And then in the second half, the Nuggets flipped it around. They went up by 10 or so before winning by 7.
All right, so game 3 they were up. So every game, except the first game you said they weren't really up. The second game they were up. They were up by 20 and lost at the buzzer. Game 3 they were up by 12, you say, and lost by 7. So there's another 19-point swing, right? But they were competing, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say they were competing, being
Okay.
up against the defending champs.
Defending champs. All right, game 4, what happened?
Game 4 in LA, they pretty much had the lead the entire game. It went from, a few points to 10 plus most of the time before they ended
What was
up.
the highest lead? Do you know?
I have to go through every play.
Okay, well, don't worry about it. They were up double digits again, is what you're saying. Well, they won by 11. So they had to be up double digits.
The biggest lead I see right now is 14.
All right. So game 2, they was up 20. Game 3, they was up 12. Game 4, they was up at least 14 from what you can see. So it wasn't a blowout. It wasn't the Nuggets winning by 30 every game or by 20 every game.
No.
The Lakers actually had the lead in just about every game, if not every game. Okay, and it took heroics from Jamal Murray, who is known for his heroics. Was Jamal Murray even really that good, the series?
Except in clutch time, no.
No, he wasn't. So that's kind of like a fluky thing. And in fact,
But they kept making comebacks every game.
Yeah. Well, again, if you wanted to say, hear me, if you wanted to say, hey, the Lakers have trouble closing, and so we need to figure out how to close games, okay, that would be a fair assessment. And you figure out what you need to do to close games. But to say that they can't compete for a championship, I'm going to ask you something. I want you to be brutally honest. Name me a better combo, when healthy, than LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Think about this before you talk now. Because if it ain't right, I'm going to say something. Who's better? What combo that's alive right now on a team would you rather have healthy more so than LeBron James and Anthony Davis? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me give you some. Dame and Giannis. Who would you rather have?
I really, really, really like Giannis, but Dame is such a hole on the other side that
What other side?
the defensive side,
Uh-huh.
that the fact that LeBron is pretty much as good as him offensively while being way better defensively, and AD can do what Giannis can do.
On some level, not the whole level. Giannis is better than AD. We can agree with that.
Yeah,
But
but
LeBron
is
is-
way better than Dame.
Yes.
So you would have to go with
Okay.
LeBron and AD.
Luka and Kyrie.
I don't know what's going to happen when Kyrie gets to Boston, so I have to worry about that. when he gets into Massachusetts airspace, he disappears. So I'm taking LeBron and AD.
Especially when you factor defense. Because Luka, I don't know how
He improved.
I don't know how he gets
improved.
these steals. I don't know if he putting oil slicks on the ground or, he says abracadabra, Luka magic, and then the ball just ends up in him because the dude is the worst defender in the NBA. I don't care what nobody says. He doesn't show any effort. Some of the worst basketball I've ever seen is Luka at the All-Star game. If you see the lack of effort that dude put in at the All-Star game, it was embarrassing. But
He doesn't want to. He
No.
said, I
Well, it
got,
looked like
I
it.
got my 4 points. I'm good.
It looked like it.
So,
It
I guess he
looked
wants
it.
other
But
people
what
to
you gotta
shine.
understand is it matters to fans and stuff like that. Anyway, we're gonna keep so not Luka and Kyrie. Who's left? Well, Clay's gone, so Steph and Draymond. Come on, these are the top duo. You give me another duo, because I don't know one.
No comment.
I don't know one.
When healthy, I'll take Maxey and Embiid is pretty good.
Over LeBron and AD.
I think when healthy, Embiid is better than AD, which can make up for the difference between LeBron and Tyrese.
Okay. So possibly one, but you said when healthy, which is like 25% of the season.
You're asking that of AD too.
No, AD is better than
Embiid. Embiid, as of the last 3 years, has been much more durable than AD.
No, he has not.
AD
What are you
is
talking
on
about?
again, off again.
Okay, it's debatable. I'll listen. I mean, but here's the bottom line: there's 30 NBA teams, and you can only give me one duo that you might take, or you say you would take. I wouldn't take that, but you would take over LeBron and AD. So think about that for a second when we talk about can they compete. They have arguably the best duo in the NBA. Okay? So now, let's talk about who else is on the team. All right? First, and again, I don't know where these media people get this stuff from, man. It's just, I look at the roster and I'm amazed, all right? First of all, Rui Hachimura. Rui Hachimura can ball. Rui Hachimura is a starter on most NBA teams, right? You have to have an all-star power forward for Rui to not start. Like this might be the only team where he don't start because of LeBron and AD. Okay? Rui is a bucket. So, he's a good player. Austin Reeves has shown flashes. He can play. I like Austin Reeves. I was one of the few people that liked Austin Reeves out of college. Before he was drafted, I'm like, this dude can play. I think he's a six-man guy to give you energy off the bench. He's a one-on-one player, not really a system player. But Austin Reeves can play. I don't like his defense, right? If anything, the Lakers need to improve their defense, but Austin Reeves can play. Gabe Vincent, I don't really know his game. Jared Vanderbilt is one of the best defensive power forwards in the NBA. I've talked about Jared Vanderbilt before. He was not available last year, which is part of the reason why they suffered defensively. Okay? Jared Vanderbilt can play. Max Christie, I don't know anything about him. I don't know why he's there. Now, I'm getting ready to focus on these other people. Jalen Hood-Schifino was one of my best guys in college that I liked. He didn't have a good year last year, but, he's going to get better. Christian Wood. I'm just going to say this about Christian Wood, okay? I'm just going to give you his numbers for the past few years, going back to Detroit, all right? In 21 minutes, he averaged 13 points and 6 rebounds. Then, foolishly, the Pistons let him go, or he wanted to leave. We don't know which one. So, in 32 minutes with Houston, he averaged 21 and 10. And then in 30 minutes the next year, he averaged 18 and 10. And then in 26 minutes with Dallas, he averaged 16 and 8. And then last year in 17 minutes, he averaged 7 and 5. There is no player in the NBA at the power forward position, at the big man position, right? And for the analytics folks out there, let me just do this. Starting in 2020, Christian Wood in Detroit, three-point percentage. He shot 38%, 37%, 39%, 37%, and then last year 30. He really didn't get up his attempts last year. He was used to getting 5 attempts a game. He only got 2.3. Didn't play a lot, so that's going to skew your numbers a bit. Christian Wood is a top 10 power forward in the NBA. And I don't care what nobody says. Any guy that can put up 20 and 10, get your rebounds, stretch the floor, I would love to have him back in Detroit. Well, he's on the Lakers. So that answers your question whether he can play. And Christian Wood is making $3 million. Jackson Hayes is one of the most athletic rim runners, rebounders, defenders. There was a time where I was willing to trade Andre Drummond for Jackson Hayes because I said Jackson Hayes is better, which is true. He's only making $2 million. Cam Reddish, I'm not really a fan of, to be honest, but he's worth more than $2.4 million. He can give you 10, 11 points a game. And Maxwell Lewis, I don't know. Now we're going to add SEC Player of the Year, Dalton Knecht, who averaged over 20 a game in the SEC, right? And then another guy who we're going to get into now, Bronny James, who can stretch the floor. Starting with Jalen Hood-Schifino, Christian Wood, you cannot get more talent at these prices anywhere in the NBA. In fact, I have to talk about this. This is going to be a separate video probably. Isaiah Hartenstein getting 3 years, $87 million is the worst contract in NBA history. Dude averaged 8 points and 8 rebounds, and they paid him $30 million a year. Clay got 3 year, $50. Folks want to talk about Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris averaged 17 Tobias Harris is a 20-point per game guy. Averaged 17 last year. He's getting 26. Okay? There are other guys getting 20-something. I don't know what the situation is with Isaiah Hartenstein, other than the obvious. Paying him almost $30 million a year for 8 points and 8 rebounds a game is crazy. If you put Isaiah Hartenstein on this team, it wouldn't improve their chances at all. He's making more money in 1 year than Jared Vanderbilt, Max Christie, Jalen Hood-Schifino, Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish, possibly Dalton Knecht combined. Okay? So they have players. And this team is way better than the team that LeBron took to the finals in 2007. I don't think it's even a question.
The teams that he's playing against are also
There you go.
infinitely better than the teams he had to play against in those times.
Absolutely.
The only way you can get bums like that to the finals is if you're playing against somewhat bummy people.
Well, no, he played against the Pistons and they weren't bums. That was just LeBron with, really changing the league. But the league has changed. Dudes are better, so on and so forth. I get that. But if the Lakers had to beat the Nuggets, I don't think there was a team in the Western Conference that could have beat the Lakers if they were healthy. Because just you look up and you see LeBron and something happens to people. And for them to be saying, okay, well, OKC, they can't beat OKC. Wasn't it just last season when nobody was calling for OKC to even go to the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't remember anybody talking about OKC. We saw Shea get the top 100 nomination, which was weird.
Right.
Because I'm like, I didn't even know people liked him that much.
Right. He was number 6, and he was over LeBron. But nobody picked, nobody but us. I was the main one. OKC going to be a top team in the West. Okay? But now all of a sudden the Lakers can't beat OKC. So I just, this is a great lineup. The biggest question mark for the Lakers, honestly, you know what the question mark is? What do you think it is?
If AD stays healthy?
Yeah, okay. Well, even if, I wouldn't even say that because if AD go out, Christian Wood can replace him. Christian Wood can replace AD. Biggest question mark is JJ Redick. That's the biggest question mark. I don't know anything about him coaching, right? But as I said, the last guy, Bronny, I want to put something in perspective. I want to make something really clear. All right? Bronny James can play basketball. And I'm gonna illustrate this by going back to the 2015 NBA draft. I didn't even mean to do this, but this is like the perfect draft, okay? So, the perfect draft for me to illustrate my point. Who was the number 1 pick in the 2015 draft?
We're looking at him. Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay. So Karl Anthony Towns, number 1 pick, went to Kentucky. Pick number 2.
D'Angelo Russell, who's on the Lakers.
All right. Pick number 3.
Jahlil Okafor.
All right. Pick number 4.
Kristaps Porzingis. This was a good draft.
Was it? No, it was not. Pick number 5. Mario Hezonja. Now, let me tell you about this guy. From Croatia. This dude was so arrogant. He was saying that he was better than Michael Jordan.
I thought he said he wanted to be.
No, he said he's better than Michael Jordan. And during this draft, just like now, all the talking heads was hyping up Hezonja. Oh, he's a great ball. He's such an awesome player. Oh, he's going to come in and dominate, whatever. He did jack, and then after he did jack, he did squat. That's what Mario Hezonja did in the NBA. Okay? I'm going to skip the number 6 pick. The 7th pick was Emmanuel Mudiay. The 6th pick was Willie Cauley-Stein. Willie Cauley-Stein, just so y'all know, if y'all ever want to talk crap about me, right? Oh, coach don't know basketball. Willie Cauley-Stein was my biggest bust ever. Because
and then Trae Young.
Because it was Willie. Because Willie should have came in and took over the league. But I didn't know what was in his chest. If you don't want to play basketball, you don't want to play basketball. This dude should have been a dominant person in the NBA, but he wasn't. But let's talk about number 7, Emmanuel Mudiay. Oh, man. He's really good. Some people thought he should be the number 1 pick. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, I don't see it. No, he can't play. Oh, yeah, he's going to come in and dominate, whatever. He came in and stunk up the joint. Okay, number 7 pick. The number 8 pick was Stanley Johnson. Number 9 was Frank Kaminsky. Number 10 was Justice Winslow. Now, I'm going to stop here. Bronny James is better than pick 5 through 10. He's better than Hezonja. Willie didn't want to play. He's better than Mudiay. He's better than Stanley Johnson. He's better than Kaminsky. And he's better than Justice Winslow. This is pick 5 through 10. So don't sit up here and tell me that this dude wasn't worthy of the 55th pick. He's better than these guys. Stanley Johnson is a good basketball player. Stanley Johnson couldn't stick because he didn't have the length and he couldn't shoot. Good defender, great defender. He played for the Lakers. But he got short arms and he couldn't shoot. Bronny can shoot that ball. Bronny can shoot that thing. And even though Bronny is only, 6'1", his length is better than Stanley Johnson because he's got 6'7.5" arms. Stanley Johnson might have had like 6'3" arms, 6'4" arms. Like he really did not have the length. Bronny is better than Stanley Johnson. He's better than Frank Kaminsky. He's better than Justice Winslow. And he's better than a whole lot of other guys. Now, just because you're better doesn't mean, like if you get picked late that you're not the better player. There's a lot. Bobby Portis was the 22nd pick. Right? Obviously, that was a mistake. Who else we got in here? Tyus Jones can play. Larry Nance at 27. So there's going to be some guy. Where's Montrezl Harrell? We could use him. My boy Chetty. I didn't know Chetty was from Turkey. Chetty Osman. Chetty Osman is better than Bronny. Okay, so I'm just making a point. Like, you can pick guys wherever. It doesn't mean that they're better.
Don't forget Willie.
Willie who? Hernan what was the name of the movie? I forget the movie. He ain't do nothing. But like this is the way that they talking about the kid. They're only doing it because his last name is James. Now, am I saying he should come in and start right away, whatever? It depends on what happens in the summer league. I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on him. And so, honestly, if it's me, I would like to see him stay in the G League until it's like stupid. Right? Like, stay in the G League until he's averaging like 30-something in the G League. If he's an NBA player, he should be putting up damn near 30 points at the G. That's the litmus test for me. Right? So if he's doing that, then he's got to come up. I would like to see him elevate people in the G League. The G, just like Caitlin Clark is doing for WNBA. Let's elevate these G League dudes because they can hoop too. You know what I'm saying? But he's not a bum. And so all these guys out there talk about nepotism, he doesn't deserve it. You don't have eyes. Because these were the same guys that were saying these other guys could hoop. And like my man was saying, he was talking about the end of the second round. I'm saying anywhere. Most of these European prospects don't pan out. But they get hyped up because they from Europe. I'm calling it. They get hyped up because they from European countries, and these clubs got something going on with the NBA where they making money. It's something going on, man, where, some of these guys don't even come over here and they get millions of dollars to the teams and all of that. There's as much talent in Africa and elsewhere as it is in Europe. Trust. Basketball, Africa League, so on and so forth. Right? So, all right, so kid, anything you got to add before we sign off?
I just feel like most of the hate that LeBron is getting based on his ability is because there was such a small sample size at USC. Obviously, when you're coming back from a cardiac arrest, you're not exactly going to be jumping out the gym, even though he did do it one time for that alley-oop that was from Isaiah Collier. He was just getting back from that, so obviously he wasn't going to be the same player he was in high school. I feel like, honestly, if he had went back for a year and gotten back to the 15 points a game, I would say a couple steals, few threes a game that I know he can hit, that people wouldn't be talking about nepotism at all.
No, they still would. No, he could have averaged 26 and they still would have been like, oh, well, he shouldn't be the number one pick or whatever.
They would at least say he's NBA level player.
Well,
they trying to say he shouldn't even be drafted.
Dudes have averaged his numbers and been the top pick. Like, I don't know what Darko's numbers were, and again, a lot of other prospects. So, it just remains to be seen what's going to happen. But we're just talking about any player. Nobody deserves the hate before they even start playing. Nobody deserves he ain't going to be nothing. He shouldn't be here. All of that. And it hasn't happened with any other player. No other player that's been drafted has this happen. Oh, man, he can't play. He shouldn't be here. That has not happened. And to be doing it across the airwaves, and I'm so glad you brought that up. I want to end it with this. Bronny, in the rare chance that you're listening to this, bro, turn the TV off, man. I watched you during the press conference and you was like, yeah, people out there think I don't deserve a chance. That means you're paying attention to the noise. You're paying attention to the hate. Don't focus on the hate, man. Do not focus on the hate. Get out of your DMs. Turn the TV off. Focus on your game. I know you like music. You like creating music tracks and stuff. Do your music tracks. Do other things, man. I hope you got some, good friends around you. Lean into them. But turn off the media. Turn off the social media. Turn off the TV. All these guys wish that they were in your position, man.